Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. We are still busy with the story of Musa alayhi salam. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Right, so in the previous episode, Musa alayhi salam left his family in the desert as he saw a light in the distance, and that is when he was conferred the nubuwwat, that he is now a messenger, and he was given two great signs, that his rod or his stick or his staff turned into an Egyptian cobra in front of him, and at the same time when he put his hand into his chest, it came out shining white like a LED light or a torch. And these were two clear signs, but he was still very fearful. He did not want to confront the arrogant Pharaoh, and he knew, because he ran away from him 10 years ago, he doesn't want to see this guy's face. But he knew that his people are under slavery and he needs to free them from the grips of Pharaoh. So he was willing to then go to confront the Pharaoh with these two great signs, but he needed help. So he asked for help, that Allah must send his brother with him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala agreed. So now let's continue, right? So when Moses came to them with our clear signs, they said, "This is nothing but sorcery faked up. Never did we hear the like among our fathers of old." So they saw the signs with their own eyes. They could not believe it. They said, "Wow, this is something." But they said, "You know what? This is just a magician's trick." Moses said, "My Lord knows best who it is that comes with guidance from him, and whose end will be best in the hereafter. Certain it is that the wrongdoers will not prosper." So look again how brilliantly Moses replies to the mockery and scorn of the people when they saw the two signs. He did not justify the two signs. He didn't say, "Can I show you to you again? I'll show you the miracles again." Why not? He did not say that. He's now talking about higher values. Look at that. So that means you must always respond to shallow talk with words of noble dignity. You must always rise high above. Don't go into the suraj with other people, right? Always rise above the circumstances. So Pharaoh said, "O chiefs, no God do I know for you but myself." Now in his arrogance, he is saying he is God. And this is part of this is basically his major downfall, because Shaitan or Satan had put so much arrogance into him that he deceived him, a human being. At the end of the day, Pharaoh is a human being, flesh and blood like you and I, like any other human being. But the devil got so deep into his brain and circulating in his arteries and veins, that he became so arrogant that he felt he's untouchable. Not only that, he's got so much power that he is God. If he tells someone you're going to live, they live. If he says you're going to die, you're going to die. So he thinks that just because of that power, that life and death are under his control. And this is where they make the big mistake. So he's telling his chiefs, and they're going to agree with him, because they always say, "Yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss." Yeah, they don't disagree with him, right? So, "O chiefs, no God do I know for you but myself. Therefore, O Haman," this is his right-hand man, right, his deputy, "light me a kiln to bake bricks out of clay, and build me a lofty palace, that I may mount up to the God of Moses. But as far as I am concerned, I think Moses is a liar." So now Musa alayhi salam said, "My Lord is the creator of the heavens and the earth up in the heavens." So Pharaoh in his arrogance said, "Okay, I'll go talk to him. Let me go see for myself." Now he doesn't have any concept what we have in the 21st century of the vastness of space and the distances between the planets. Just from, just our atmosphere alone. Just from here to the moon alone, from here to the sun. Our distance from us to the sun, 150 million kilometers. So Pharaoh doesn't know what he's talking about. But Allahu Alam, at least he tried. But they were masters in engineering, masters in construction. As we can see, the fabulous pyramids they built. Now imagine the pyramids. Let's ponder for a moment. The pyramids that these guys built were not their palaces. The pyramids were their graves. Right? Let's ponder. The pyramids are graves. Now, if their graves are so fabulous, with so much gold and so much intricate detail and so much precision, can we imagine what kind of palaces they built? They were masters out of this world. We don't have no idea of what kind of palaces and luxury these people were involved in. Because if their graves, imagine your grave is so amazing. Imagine your palace, right? So anyway, he tells Haman, light me. And they started building. We don't know how high they went. Because this was a command from Pharaoh, so they got everyone together. They started getting new, maybe slabs big like the pyramids, and they start building it. Imagine the scaffolding. Imagine the heavy work. So when the Pharaoh gives a command, it must be done. They don't care about where the money comes from. I mean, they were flowing in gold. They didn't have to worry. They had enough slaves, and they started building this huge structure, a stairway to heaven, right? To then Pharaoh wanted to go see for himself. I want to go talk to the creator of the heavens and the world myself. So, because he's saying, as far as I'm concerned, I think Moses is a liar. And he was arrogant and insolent in the land, beyond reason. You cannot understand his level of arrogance. And we feel it as well. Sometimes you feel some people in the community are so arrogant. Some people in business, you see so many people on TV, whether it's politicians who are so arrogant, some of them. You feel so terrible just looking at their face and in the way they are talking, their insolence, their arrogance. And you wonder that what kind of a man or a woman is that at home? Are they treating their wife or their husband like that? Are they treating their children like that? Because if a person can be so arrogant and nasty in public, they are, I don't know what to say. There's hell in their house. I can tell you that. Because such arrogant people are narcissists at home. You get both. You get male narcissists and you get female narcissists. You get men who are arrogant. You get women who are arrogant. And sometimes, we got this famous TikTok videos or this YouTube videos of the Karens of the world. The Karens, this people of self-entitlement. They will stand in the middle of the street and scream like as if the world belongs to them, like they are Prince Charles or they are the king of the world, and they've got a sense of entitlement. And then you get the male equivalent of Karen. I don't know what it's called. So I know the Karens are these ladies who are so annoying, arrogant, and when they are talking, you can see they got no brains. No brains. Astaghfirullah. I don't know what's in that head of theirs, but there's nothing of substance in that, and you feel sorry for the family. Imagine if you see your mother acting like that or your father acting like that. It's shameful. But there are arrogant people in the world, insolent people in the world who think they can do whatever they want to. They are not accountable to nobody. And if you even dare to utter a word of gentleness, of kindness, to say, calm down, that anger will fly towards you now. And then next time you'll say, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. That is what arrogant people do, because they become the soldiers of Satan or the devil. May Allah protect us from that, right? And he was arrogant and insolent in the land beyond reason. He and his armies, right? His armies are the hosts. They thought that they would not have to return to us. They say, we're not accountable to anybody. We will do what we can. This is the only reality. This is the only world we are. We are made up of bundles of energy. The universe is made up of energy. And when we die, our energy will return to the universe. And that's the end of the story. Klar. But that's not klar. That is only the beginning. When you die, that's the beginning of your life. Your life is not now. So don't get confused. This is not life. This is an illusion and a delusion. We are not living. Your life begins the day you die. Then your spiritual eyes open and then you say, yes, like. So the question is, what have you prepared for your life, your true life to come? This life is deception. This life is an illusion and a grand delusion. As a belief man, sir. And sadly, people get visions and delusions of grandeur, a God complex. Yeah, nobody can touch us. We'll rule, we'll conquer, we'll divide and rule. We'll grab all the gold and the oil and the diamonds and others. But all of that is an illusion and a delusion of success. That is not success. True success is the success of the hereafter. Your bank balance is not a criteria or a barometer of your success. You need to know, what is God happy with? What does Allah want from you? How can you earn the pleasure of your Rabb? That is the question. So we seized him and his armies, and we flung them into the sea. Now behold, what was the end of those who did wrong. And we made them but leaders, inviting to the fire, and on the day of judgment no help shall they find. In this world we made a curse to follow them, and on the day of judgment they will be among the loathed and despised. So even though they had all the gold in the world, they had all the power, all the control, they had slaves under them, they could click a finger and do whatever they want, but on the day of judgment they will no longer have that golden throne on which they were sitting on. They will no longer have royal advisors. They will no longer have people who will be worshipping them. They will no longer have people who will be their fans and ask them for autographs. They will be the most lowest of the lowest, the loathed and despised, like as if they are filled with lepers and flies, and they'll be crawling around and no one will give them a second glance. This is how the day of judgment is also known as the day of regret, the day of shame, the day of humiliation, and the day of loss and gain. The ones who are wealthy and arrogant in this world will be humiliated and on their knees in the next world. Stay well, look after yourself.